All right, everybody. This is Jeremy back again with another deck tech. This one is of my premium Karlov, the Ghost Council deck. Of course, you can't get Karlov premium, so we got this cool altar done by Greg Sablin's wife. Thank you very much. It looks awesome. And we'll just go through real quick. We got some tokens associated with the deck. We got a monk, an avatar, black-white human cleric, an angel, a vampire knight, a white soldier, and that'll be that. Okay, moving along to the lands. At a Marsh Flats, Fetid Heath, Caves of Koalos, Temple of Silence to get that scry action. Got a Shambling Vent, turns into a lifelinky creature. Since Karlov is all about gaining life, that's what we want to do with this deck. Isolated Chapel, Forsaken Sanctuary, got a Tainted Field. Scour Barrens comes into play, we gain a life. Orsat Basilica helps us bounce our other lands back and gain more life if we need to. Godless Shrine. Ghost Quarter to get rid of those pesky lands our opponents have that we don't want them to have. Westvale Abbey. This makes black and white human cleric tokens, and it also turns into a big beefy monster that has lifelink. I'll flip it real quick and show you. Ormondal Profane Prince, 9/7, flying, lifelink, indestructible, and haste. We got Radiant Fountain comes into play, gain 2 life. Seraph Sanctuary, also whenever it comes into play, we gain a life. And whenever an angel enters the battlefield under our control, we gain a life off of that as well. And we'll have several triggers off of that within the deck. Tech Edge, also some more land removal. Just trying to refocus the camera here. Evolving Wilds, we can search for a source if we need one early on. Reliquary Tower, we have no maximum hand size, so it's always nice to, especially whenever we have Scroll Rack out, we'll be able to cycle through our deck quite a bit, get to anything we need. Kabir Crossroads, whenever it comes into play, gain 2 life, that's pretty cool. Plains. I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planes, and I went with John Avon's Invasion Planes because I love the artwork so much. Urborg, turn all those colorless lands into something we can use later on if we need. Bajuka Bog, exile somebody's graveyard. And swamps. We have 8 swamps. Also from the Invasion block. I love the Invasion foils. Alright, moving along to the deck now after the lands. Luminarch Ascension. Great if you can play it on turn 2. It's definitely one of the best turn 2 plays there is in a multiplayer game. But if you get 3 counters on it, you can pay 2 and get a 4/4 white angel. Pretty sweet. Johnny Goldmane. All of his abilities are really great. The +1, we'll be buffing up Karlov with that. The -1, we can give him vigilance and give all our creatures +1/+1. Or if we want to go big, do the ultimate and get a huge avatar. Enlightened Tutor. Tons of artifacts and enchantments in here, so it's great to be able to go and find those. Also, what you're going to see is, since we're gaining so much life in here, and that's what this deck does for Karlov, is we want to be able to remove things like Erebos and a couple other enchantments that prevent players from gaining life. So you're going to see a lot of exile target artifact or enchantment, and that's the reason that I put those in there to begin with. Also, Forsake the Worldly does the same thing, but we can cycle it for 2 if we don't need it. Path to Exile. Exile a creature. Controller can search for a basic land, put it into play tapped. Swords to Plowshares. Awesome card. I mean, exiles a creature. It can trigger us to give us life gain if we need it, or get rid of a threat on the board. Awesome artwork by Sam Wolf Connolly. I love this one. Return to Dust. Exile an artifact or enchantment. If you play it during your main phase, you get to exile another artifact or enchantment. So, really sweet 2-for-1. Council's Judgment. If anybody has Hexproof or Indestructible or Shroud or something like that, and you need to get rid of permanent, or non-land permanent, sorry, Well, let's all vote for it and get rid of it. Sarah Ascendant. One of the most OP one drops in the entire format. If you play her on turn 1, well, you got a 6/6 flying lifelink. Nothing else to really say about that. It's pretty awesome. Also wanted some other turn 1 plays. Soul Mender, not as great as the Ascendant, unfortunately, but playing him on turn 1 ensures us that over the course of the next several turns, we can trigger Karlov every single time without fail as long as he survives. So that's why he's in there. And then we got our Soul Sisters. Soul's Attendant, Soul Warden. Whenever creatures come into play, we gain life. Suture Priest works for the offensive and the defensive. So we gain a life whenever a creature comes into play under our control. And then also if somebody is going off and they're making hordes and hordes of tokens or putting tons of creatures out, well, we're gonna penalize them for that and make them lose a life for each one. Grand Abolisher. We do have one combo in the deck, and this is also great against other control type aspects, so we can kind of protect our turn and do whatever we want to do. Pious Evangel, kind of like another Soul Sister, but he also triggers himself, which is nice to play on turn 3. And then we can sacrifice him, or sacrifice another permanent to transform him. And when he transforms, he becomes Wayward Disciple. And whenever another creature we control dies, target opponent loses a life and we gain a life. Monastery Mentor. I was looking at ways to fit in white token generators in here because I have Resplendent Mentor, which I'll show you in just a second. I thought about both of the white gods. They're really awesome. You can pump out tokens with them, but I realized that about 45% of the deck, I believe, is non-creature spells. So Monastery Mentor is just an amazing card. I mean, if we drop them on turn 3 and just start playing some artifacts or something on turn 4 and pumping tokens, and we have a Soul's Attendant out, we're getting tons of value. He's an all-star in here, and I really love the addition of him. There's our Resplendent Mentor. So for 5 mana you get a 2/2, but white creatures you control have tap, gain 1 life. So it's really awesome whenever this hits the board to have 10 or 20 white tokens out, and we just make Karlov really huge really quick. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. 8 mana for an 8/8 Flying Vigilance, indestructible. Other permanents we control have indestructible. Triggers Seraph Sanctuary and protects all of our stuff. Really awesome card. Sudden Titan gives us a little bit of that recursion we need, just in case if we lose anything small early on that we want to get back. Same with Karmic Guide. If somehow, some way we lose one of our fatties or it gets milled or something, we just want to go and grab something back out of the graveyard. Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Every ability on here is relevant, although -3 I don't use a whole lot because Karlov's usually higher than a 4 power. But getting 3 white dudes whenever you got 1 or 2 Soul Sisters out, it gets insane really quick. I love her. She's awesome. Knight Errant. Going for the ultimate, we can make all our stuff indestructible. But I really like the second ability. If I come out on turn 4 with her and I have Karlov and a couple triggers already, giving Karlov +3/+3 and flying and getting through, seems like a couple turns later and I've already killed one opponent just by using that middle ability. Oblivion Ring is an awesome white removal spell. Sorry, hold on just a second. Alright, now we got Necrotic Sliver. We can recur him with the Sun Titan. He's also a white creature, and he can destroy permanents, so pretty sweet. He can also destroy lands if we need him to. Timna the Weaver, one of the more recent additions. She's a white creature, okay. She has a lifelink, and she also gives us opportunities to draw cards. So, check, check, and check. Really great for the deck. What the heck. Sorin Grim Nemesis. He does pretty much what we want a Planeswalker to do in this deck, besides make white tokens. He gives us extra card advantage, makes opponents lose life. He can kill creatures, gains his life, and then he can give us a whole horde of Vampire Knight tokens. So really awesome. Cliffhaven Vampire. I chose this over Sanguine Bond for my Exquisite Blood combo because it curves right into it, and also he is a white creature. And he's also a 2/4 flyer, which helps out early game. Merciless Eviction, one of the best black-white removal spell, or one of the best removal spells there is that you can play in black and white, because it exiles one of each particular card type, which would be artifacts, or you can pick creatures, or enchantments, or planeswalkers. So if anybody is just too far ahead with one of those things, well, just exile them all. Anguish Unmaking. We gain a ton of life. We don't really care about losing that 3, so paying 3 for an instant speed to exile non-land permanent, definitely. Utter End, same deal. Just costs 1 more, but we don't lose any life. Exile non-land permanent. We'll take it. Ashen Rider. I would love for this to be an angel, but it's not. But it's still awesome. 2 black, 2 white, 4 colorless. We get a 5/5 flyer. When he enters the battlefield or dies, exile a permanent. Really sweet card. Divinity of Pride. If you have 25 or more life, it's an 8/8 flying lifelink for 5 mana. This is a really awesome body for 5 mana, and love having it in here. Magister of Worth. It's kind of a card that you play around. It's got Will of the Council, so you can vote. Vote for Grace or Condemnation. If Grace gets more votes, each player returns each creature from his graveyard to the battlefield. If Condemnation gets more votes, destroy all creatures, other than Magister of Worth. It also triggers because it's an angel. And you can just play around the board state. I mean, whatever you need it for, or however you feel people are going to vote. Pontiff of Blight. Especially with Urborg and a ton of tokens, this guy can get out of hand. Okay, if all of our lands can produce black mana and we have 10 tokens, well, if we just play a Soul Ring and tap, and we can drain everybody for 10, get 10 triggers off of Karlov, etc., etc. This guy is amazing. Crypt Gas, he extorts, but whenever we tap a swamp for mana, we add an extra black to our mana pool. So with Urborg, doubles up our mana. Really awesome. Black Sun, I found out, is extremely powerful with Karlov, because Karlov loves +1/+1 counters. So if he has 15 or 20 on him, and I have to wipe the board and give everybody -10, well, he's not suffering too much, especially if I'm gaining life for those death triggers. Erebos. We do not want to see him on the other side of the board, but we love having him on our side, because at some point he may become an indestructible creature, but more relevant than that is we want to be able to draw cards, and he helps us do it. Liliana Vess, one of the best planeswalkers there is. Obviously going for that -2 ability to search our library for a card, shuffle it, and then put it on top. Sudden Death. I put this in here for cards like Azami, Limvala, stuff of that nature. Just 2 black and a colorless. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, but it also has split second, so nobody can respond to it, which I really like against control decks, or whenever somebody's trying to combo off, you can just boom, nope, stop right now. It's really good. Exquisite Blood goes with our Cliffhaven Vampire. Also goes really well with the rest of the deck too, because anytime an opponent loses life, we're going to be gaining life. So even by itself, we can just get so much more triggers with Karlov. Okay, Greed. 4 mana enchantment. Just pay 2 life and a black, draw a card. Trespasser's Curse. I realize this only affects 1 person in the game because it is a curse, but it's pretty easy, especially in a multiplayer game, to tell who's going to be making the most dudes right off the bat. So if you played this on turn 2 or 3, you could pretty much guess where and it's going to put in work. It definitely will. Dark Tutelage, just like Dark Confidant, but costs 1 more and is an enchantment, not a creature. Just some early card advantage. Retreat to Hagra. We love that landfall trigger where every opponent loses a life and we gain a life. Helps with Karlov, get him bigger. Moving along to the artifacts, we'll start with Noxious Gearhulk. 6 mana for a 5/4 menace. When he enters the battlefield, destroy another target creature. If it's destroyed this way, gain life. So we get a dude that has menace no less, destroy a creature, and gain life. Really awesome in here. Moving along to some mana rocks. Got Soul Ring. And then we got a Mana Crypt. And of course a Mana Vault. And then moving to a Scroll Rack so we can help cycle through our deck. I only picked 2 swords for the deck. The first one is Light and Shadow. Pro black, pro white. Whenever it deals combat damage, you gain 3 life, and you can return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. And War and Peace. I picked the 2 that gain life, obviously. Pro red, pro white. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, deals damage equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Jit. Also, just a really awesome equipment. Also gains life for us. Whisper Silk Cloak. Gives Karlov Shroud, makes him unblockable. Elixir of Immortality, gains us some life, shuffles stuff back in if we're about to get milled or if we need something back in our library. Pristine Talisman, a mana rock that gains us 1 life every time we use it. Really cool in here. Love this card. Orzhov Signet. Just a signet. I mean, pay 1, add a black and a white to your mana pool. Orzhov Key Rune. Another mana rock, but it turns into a lifelink creature. Aetherflux Reservoir. I never realized, or I guess I was naive to the fact that how good this card would be in this deck until I actually put it in here. And then I realized, wow, I should have put this in here the moment that I got it in the pre-release. So whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. And then you can pay 50 life and deal 50 damage to target creature or player. So we're gaining tons and tons of life. So dropping this on turn 4, say a few turns later, you're at a comfortable 50 to 60 life. If somebody's a huge threat, just boom, just one-shot them, just take them out, and then just slowly build back up and keep going with the rest of the game. Well, Lost Dreams, one of the absolute best cards in the deck. Whenever you gain life, you can pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. I love seeing this on turn 2, 3, or 4. I love getting it out on as soon as possible. Because the card draw you get from this is just, it's so extreme, it's so powerful in this deck that it's just an all-star. It's an absolute all-star in here. Alright, and that brings us to our last card, Sensei's Divining Top. Gotta love looking at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order so you can shuffle stuff around and get whatever you need. Alrighty, and that was it for my Karlov of the Ghost Council. Thank you very much for watching.